Hey everyone, great to see you here on the How to English podcast channel. Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take your shared source materials, your articles, notes, and research, and pull out the most important knowledge nuggets, giving you a shortcut to sounding well-informed.
It's great to be here. Today we're focusing on something incredibly common, something that happens to everyone, everywhere, arriving late.
Oh, yeah. Whether it's a business meeting or, just a casual dinner, we all have those moments when we're running behind schedule.
We do. And that moment, the moment you realize you're late, it requires very specific language.
Exactly. You need a good way of saying sorry and explaining why you were delayed. So this deep dive is going to look at that specific vocabulary and the essential phrases you need.
Right, for all those situations, from, say, a huge traffic nightmare to a meeting that just kept going and going.
We're essentially giving you a toolkit, a shortcut to sounding completely natural and professional when you need to offer an explanation.
And this is specifically for you, the English learner. We're going to go slowly, we'll repeat the key phrases a few times, and give a lot of examples and context so you can feel totally confident using them right away.
Okay, so to start, we're going to act out a short scene for you. This scene uses a lot of the phrases we'll be studying today.
So listen closely. Pay attention to the words that people use to apologize and, explain why they're late. Notice which excuses sound good and which ones, well, don't.
Ew. Okay, let's set the scene. It's a chaotic morning meeting. The boss is not happy, he says. Where is everyone? We were supposed to start 15 minutes ago.
Then the assistant replies, Joe called. She got tied up with a client.
Then the first late person rushes in and says, Sorry I'm late, there was a huge traffic jam on the highway.
And the assistant adds, Scott called and said that he's running late. His last meeting ran over.
And finally, the last person comes in and says, I'm really sorry, everyone. I know I'm late, but the coffee line was way, way too long.
Yeah, that's not going to go over well.
Not at all. So that was a pretty chaotic meeting. You heard a lot of phrases there, some good, and, well, one maybe not so good.
Yes. Now, let's unpack this dialogue and really focus on the language they used.
Okay, let's do it. We've got four main phrases from that first part of the dialogue that are just essential for giving a good, acceptable excuse.
Our first essential phrase is a fantastic one, especially for work. It's to get tied up.
Let's say that slowly together, to get tied up.
It's a great phrase. It basically means you became extremely busy with something so important that you just couldn't stop or avoid it.
Right. If you think about the literal image, like being tied with a rope, you can't move, you can't leave.
Exactly. So when you're tied up with a client or a project, it means that important work is preventing you from getting to your next appointment on time.
It's a really powerful metaphor.
It is. And what's fascinating here is how professional this sounds. It implies the delay was because of important work, not because you were, disorganized.
So it actually protects your professional image.
It does. Now, grammatically, you'll usually use it in the past tense. You'll arrive and say, I got tied up.
Or I guess if you're calling ahead, you could say, I am tied up right now.
Yes, exactly. But the most common for an explanation after the fact is, I got tied up.
Okay, so let's go through a few examples. So from the scene, the assistant said, she got tied up with a client. The client was important.
Right. Or you might say to your partner, sorry, I'm late, honey. I got tied up at the office. Or another one, I was tied up on the phone all afternoon.
Okay, here's a new one. The doctor got tied up in surgery, so she is running late.
Perfect. See how in every case the context is professional and, well, critical. You wouldn't say you got tied up shopping.
Right, that wouldn't make sense. But I have a question. Isn't saying I got tied up a little vague?
That's a great point. And yes, it can be. The power of the phrase is in its implied importance.
So your boss just assumes it was something important.
Exactly. But if you feel like you need to give more detail, you can. You could say, I got tied up finalizing the quarterly budget.
Ah, okay. That makes the excuse completely solid.
It does. It's really the gold standard for a professional, necessary delay.
Okay, let's move to the next set of excuses. These all have to do with the great enemy of being on time, traffic.
Yes. We have two key terms here. The first is a traffic jam.
Let's say it slowly. A traffic jam.
And the second, which is often the reason for the jam, is a pileup.
Okay, a pileup.
So let's start with a traffic jam. Traffic, means cars. A jam means blocked or stopped.
So a traffic jam is just a lot of cars on the road that are not moving.
Exactly. The word jam is interesting, isn't it? It makes you think of something thick and sticky, something you can't move through easily.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. And it's an excuse that everyone, everywhere understands.
Absolutely. Now, what about a pileup?
This one sounds much more serious.
It is. A pileup is a specific and very serious kind of car accident. It's where many cars crash into each other. Sometimes they even end up piled on top of one another.
Wow. So if you use that phrase, you're signaling that the situation was a major catastrophe. It wasn't just slow traffic.
Precisely. It adds instant credibility to your lateness, because a pileup often means the road is completely blocked. It implies police, ambulances, the whole situation.
No one is going to argue with that. So let's try using them in a few examples.
Okay, so you could say, I left the house early, but I hit a huge traffic jam near the city center.
And what if you knew the cause?
Then you could add it. I left early, but I hit a huge traffic jam because there was a multi-car pileup on the highway.
Ah, that's very clear. It paints a full picture.
It does. Another example for pileup. Because of the ice on the road, there was a huge pileup.
So these phrases give a specific, understandable, and, a very acceptable reason for being late.
For sure. Okay, our third essential phrase. This one is maybe the most common and useful one of all.
And that is, I'm running late.
Let's repeat that one. It's so important. I'm running late.
It's such a crucial phrase for sounding like a native speaker. And it doesn't mean you're actually running with your legs, of course.
Oh, no. It just means you are currently delayed and you know you're going to arrive after the scheduled time.
And it's what you say when you call or text someone to warn them, right?
Exactly. And that's what makes it so important. Using running late shows respect. It shows you're communicating the delay before you're expected, not after. It helps the other person manage their expectations.
That's a great point. What about the grammar? You have to say, I am running late, right?
Yes, the continuous form. A common mistake is just saying, I run late. You could say, I usually run late if it's a habit, but for right now, it's always, I am running late.
And you can soften it a little, can't you?
Of course. You could say, I'm running a bit late, or I'm running a little late if the delay isn't too long.
Let's hear a few examples.
Okay, so from the scene, Scott just called and said that he's running late.
Or you could text someone, traffic is really bad, so I'm running late.
And here's one with that softer language. I'm running a bit late, so please start without me.
Perfect. It's just so flexible. You can use it for work, for friends, for family. It always works.
Okay, on to our final essential phrase in this section. This one is perfect for explaining delays caused by previous appointments or meetings.
And that phrase is to run over. The past tense is ran over.
Let's repeat that. To run over, past tense. Ran over.
So when something runs over, it just means it goes longer than you expected?
Yes, it goes beyond the planned time limit. So if a meeting is supposed to end at 9:00, but it goes until 9:20, it ran over by 20 minutes.
This is another great excuse for work, isn't it?
It's fantastic for work.
Yeah.
Because it puts the blame on the event, not on you. It shows you were busy with something important, like another meeting.
Right. It suggests you were being diligent and thorough in your last task.
Exactly. So let's hear some examples, and we'll use the past tense. I ran over since that's how you'd explain it.
Okay. In the scene, we heard his last meeting ran over.
Simple and clear. Here's another. My appointment with the dentist ran over by 15 minutes.
Or, the presentation ran over the time limit, so I apologize for being late to this call.
And you can see how these phrases can be combined.
Oh, yeah. You could say, my last meeting ran over, so I'm calling to let you know I'm running late.
Perfect. You've given the warning and the professional reason all in one sentence.
Excellent. So those are our first four big ones. To get tied up, a traffic jam or pile up, running late, and to run over.
Now we're going to move a little deeper. The next section has phrases that help you describe when you'll arrive and give more detail about how bad a situation really is.
This is what helps you move from just giving a basic excuse to painting a really complete picture for the person waiting.
The first one is very short and very common. In the dialogue, Joe said she'd be there in a sec.
Let's practice that one in a sec.
Sec is just a short, casual way of saying second, so it means you'll be there very, very soon.
But it's an exaggeration, right? You don't mean literally 1 second.
Of course not. But it tells the person you are extremely close. Maybe you're just parking the car or walking up to the door.
Okay, so this is where it gets interesting. What is the real difference between saying in a sec and in a minute?
Ah, that is a fantastic question. It's a nuance native speakers use all the time.
So in a sec is faster than in a minute.
Much faster. If you say, I'll be there in a sec, you mean maybe 1 or 2 minutes? Max. It signals extreme urgency and that you are right there.
Okay. And in a minute?
In a minute, could be 3, 4, maybe even 5 minutes. It's still soon, but it's not as immediate. It gives you a little more breathing room.
So if you're, say, 10 minutes away, you should definitely not say in a sec.
Absolutely not. That would be a big mistake. You'd be setting the wrong expectation. For 10 minutes, you just say, I'm running late. I'll be there in about 10 minutes.
So the key is only use in a sec when you're literally right outside the door.
That's the best way to think about it.
Okay, let's go back to our traffic problem. We know what a traffic jam is, but what's the phrase for how you feel when you're in one?
You are stuck in traffic.
Let's repeat that descriptive phrase. Stuck in traffic.
When you're stuck in traffic, you literally cannot move your car forward. You are stopped. The word stuck really captures that feeling of frustration and being immobile.
It does. It explains the physical reality of the delay. The pileup caused the traffic jam, and now you are stuck in traffic.
Exactly. And to describe how bad that traffic jam is, how big it is, we use another phrase.
And that is backed up for miles.
Let's say that one slowly. It's very descriptive. Backed up for miles.
This describes how far the line of stopped cars goes, right?
Yes. If traffic is backed up for miles, it means the line of cars is very, very long. This signals to the person waiting that this isn't a small delay. This is a major, long-lasting problem.
And how do we use it in a sentence?
You could say, the accident backed up traffic for miles, or traffic was backed up for miles.
Okay, so let's try a few examples with this more detailed language.
You could say, I've been stuck in traffic for almost 20 minutes. It's not moving at all.
Or, the news said the construction has traffic backed up for miles.
So now you can combine everything for a really fluent, detailed explanation.
Let me try. Sorry I'm running late. There was a pile up on the highway, and now I'm stuck in traffic. It looks like it's backed up for miles.
That is a perfect, complete, and very believable explanation. No one will have any more questions.
We've covered a lot of great ways to give a good professional reason for being late.
Almost a dozen phrases now. Yeah. But let's circle back for a moment to that unacceptable excuse. The coffee line.
Right. The boss in our scene was clearly not happy with that employee. The issue wasn't just that he was late.
No, it was the reason. A long coffee line is a personal choice. It suggests you didn't prioritize the professional commitment.
Exactly. So that brings us to a question for you. We want to hear what you think. Write a comment below and tell us. If you were the boss, which excuse would you find the most acceptable?
Yeah, let's say between these three. Getting tied up with a client, just saying you're running late, or explaining there was a pileup, which one sounds the most professional to you?
We're really curious to see which one you think protects the employee's image the most.
And just before we move on to the bigger cultural picture, if you're finding this deep dive helpful,
especially the slow repetition and all the examples,
please take a moment to click that like button. It really helps us share this lesson with more people who are trying to master English.
And if you want more lessons like this where we really slow down and explain these important phrases, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you.
Okay, so now let's look at the bigger picture.
Right. Because if we connect all this vocabulary to the bigger picture, we have to understand that the whole idea of being late is, well, it's different all around the world.
It's hugely different. The question of when you need an excuse and how serious that excuse needs to be changes dramatically from one country to another.
This is so important. You can know all the right words, but if you don't understand the cultural context, you can still make a big mistake.
Absolutely. The value that a culture places on being punctual, which means always being on time, that's the core difference.
So in a place like, say, Germany, being 5 minutes late is a big deal and requires a serious excuse.
Right. But in parts of Latin America, arriving 30 minutes late for a dinner party might be considered completely normal and require no excuse at all.
Okay, so let's break this down. In the source material, they talk about two main ways of viewing time. The first is monochronic time.
Monochronic or M time. This is the approach you generally find in places like North America, Canada, Germany, Switzerland.
So what does that mean, monochronic?
It means time is seen as a line. It's a valuable thing that you can't get back. You know the saying, time is money?
That sounds very M time.
It is. In these cultures, you do one thing at a time, schedules are really important, and you're expected to stick to them.
So like in our dialogue, if the meeting starts at 9:00 a.m., you need to be in your seat, ready to go at 9:00 a.m. sharp.
Exactly. Being 10 or 15 minutes late is often seen as disrespectful or unprofessional, and your excuse has to be a good one.
It has to be something serious and unavoidable, like the pile-up or being tied up by your boss.
Right. An excuse like the long coffee line would be seen as a sign that you just don't prioritize your work.
So that's M time. What's the opposite?
The opposite is polychronic time, or P time.
And where would we see that?
This approach is more common in Latin America, the Middle East, parts of Africa, and Southern Europe.
And how is time different in P-time cultures?
In P-time cultures, the relationship between people is more important than the schedule. Time is more flexible, more fluid.
So it's normal to do multiple things at once.
Yes, and interruptions are normal. The main goal is completing the task and maintaining the relationship, not hitting an exact time on the clock.
This is where that idea of Latino time or Hispanic time comes from, isn't it?
It is. If a meeting is set for 9:00 a.m., that might be more of a suggestion for when things should start getting going.
So people might arrive at 9:00, but the meeting itself might not really start until 9:15 or 9:3.
Exactly. Because that first 15 or 20 minutes is used for important social things, getting coffee together, greeting each other, asking about family.
You build the relationship before you do the business.
You do. And in that context, arriving 15 minutes late doesn't require a big excuse because that flexibility is just built into the culture.
Wow, and this applies to social events too, right? But even more so.
Absolutely. Let's look at dinner invitations. This is where the contrast is huge.
So in a strict M-time culture like Canada or the US, if a dinner invitation says 6:00 p.m.,
Guests will probably arrive around 6:05. Arriving a few minutes late is polite, so you don't seem too eager. But the meal will start very soon after.
okay, now contrast that with a P-time culture.
Well, if dinner is at 6:00 p.m., guests might arrive at 6:00 or 7:00. The 6:00 p.m. on the invitation signals the start of the evening, not the start of the meal itself.
The host might not even be ready at 6 points.
That's right. The food might not be served until 8:00 or even later.
That's a massive difference in expectation.
It is, and it shows how context completely changes the meaning of late.
So this all connects back to our vocabulary. You really need to know which cultural environment you're in before you decide which excuse to use.
You do. Using a really dramatic excuse like there was a 10-car pileup for being 10 minutes late in a P-time country might sound, well, a little over the top.
And on the other hand, showing up 30 minutes late for a job interview in an M-time country, even with a good excuse, might mean you don't get the job. The lateness itself is the problem.
Understanding this is so key for anyone working in international business. You're not just learning English phrases, you're learning how different people perceive and value time itself.
This is such a fantastic point, and it brings us to our second question for you. We want to know how this works where you live.
Yes. Write a comment below and share with us. What is the normal tradition for time in your country?
For a social dinner invitation, for example, if it says 7:00 p.m., how many minutes late is acceptable? Or is it not acceptable at all?
Is your country more monochronic, like Germany, where you need to be exactly on time? Or is it more polychronic, where a 30-minute delay is totally normal?
Sharing your experience helps all of us learn about the amazing diversity of global communication.
Okay, before we finish up, let's do a quick review of all the main phrases you learned today.
Great idea. We'll go through them one last time, nice and slow, to help you remember them. Ready.
So, for a professional excuse when you're busy with important work, you say, I got tied up.
I got tied up.
When cars are completely stopped on the road, that is, a huge traffic jam.
A huge traffic jam.
And if that jam was caused by a serious accident, you call it a pileup.
A pileup.
The best way to warn someone you will be delayed is to say, I'm running late.
I'm running late.
When a previous meeting lasted too long, you say it. Ran over.
It ran over.
That feeling of being unable to move your car is, I got stuck in traffic.
I got stuck in traffic.
To describe a very, very long line of cars, you say traffic was backed up for miles.
Backed up for miles.
And that promise you make when you are just 2 minutes away is, I'll be there in a sec.
In a sec.
Remember, knowledge is most valuable when you understand it and can apply it correctly.
These phrases are your essential toolkit for clear communication and for showing respect for other people's time, no matter what culture you're in.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. If this lesson was helpful for your English learning, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more detailed lessons just like this one.
We talked a lot today about how cultural expectations change the meaning of being on time. But here's a final provocative thought for you to think about.
I'm intrigued.
If you have an international team with people from both monochronic and polychronic cultures, which standard should the team adopt? Does using a polite excuse like running late still work if the underlying expectations are completely different?
That's a really good question.
Should one group have to completely conform to the other? What's the fair compromise when time itself means different things to different people? Something to mull over on your own.
A great thought to end on. Until next time, goodbye.